Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel where we are doing another Kindred Stamps design team project. This one is called Strong Maiden, and this is one of the new releases for this month. It is so awesome. It is empowering and it's just great. So we're going to play with this today, and I am going to make a kind of sarcastic, snarky card. So haven't really done many of those, but I figured why not? It's going to be fun. So we are going to stamp out our two maidens here, and I'm going to use some VersaFine Clair, some clear embossing powder, and then we're going to color them up. So I don't show you the full coloring for both of the images, but I am going to show you the coloring of the one and then the two different skin tones that I used. So I get that all heat set and we are ready to color. I am using my Arteza Real Brush pens on Bristol Smooth cardstock. It moves the best on this cardstock, I feel. It is a soft blend, and I always start off with the darkest color, almost because it's going to be my shaded area. I almost use a color that, had I used that color alone, it just would be way too dark. And so this red that I put down first, that's going to give me the really good shading that I want. And then the color I actually want to show is going to be the second part of the kind of layering or shading. Then I'm going to make her hair a little bit blonde here on the top. And she's going to be, our first maiden is going to be more fair-skinned. I'm going to make sure that I don't forget the hands. And she's going to have, I believe, brown boots, and I'm going to do a little bit of shading on that white bonnet on her head, just a little bit, because I want to keep it white. And so right around the lines is where I'm going to put a little bit of that very, very light color. And that's going to give that, take away that flat look of the white. Then moving on to the second maiden, I'm going to make her skin complexion a little bit darker. And you'll see the colors here that I'm using. And so same concept though, put the shading where you want the shading. So that's going to be your darkest color. And then the next color, and then water brush, pull it out. That'll give you those light areas along the face. And so I didn't really focus too much on light source here, but I figured there might be some shading around the hairline and where the bonnet is. And some pretty easy coloring. Okay, next we're going to move into, I've pulled out some Bristol Smooth cardstock again. I have all my card panels cut down already to A2 size. This makes it a lot easier for me to card make. So it's a little tip if you don't do that. I keep all of them cut down where I'm just within reaching distance. I have this Lawn Fawn cloud border die that I just cut into a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to use that as my stencil. I'm using Stormy Sky all over this background. So the Stormy Sky went down first, but I didn't use a heavy hand. Then I'm going back with my stencil, and I'm going to use a bit of a heavier hand here because I want to get that shading from the cloud border die. And this turned out way better than I thought. Of course, it's a cloudy day, it's a rainy day, and so this is exactly what I was going for. All right, so we get that done. Next thing we're going to do, I pulled out some embossing folders, and I embossed a piece of cardstock in both the stone embossing folder I had and the brick. I am so sorry I cannot find these, but if you guys want to share below where maybe you have your embossing folders and then others can grab them up, but I can't find these. I think I probably bought them in a craft store a long time ago. I will continue to look though. And then I'm going to use those distressed oxide colors to kind of get that gradient look. I'm going to take the water and I'm going to get some water droplets where it resists the oxide ink and it kind of picks up, and that's going to give me a little bit more of a distressed look. So I'm really pleased with the coloring of this stone wall. That makes me very happy. And then I'm going to place it on top of my card base, my panel, because I don't want the entire thing to cover the card. So I'm just going to cut out a portion of this stone wall so that it fits exactly where I want it. I had this vision in my head of how I wanted things to lay out. I just needed a little bit of assistance with my paper trimmer and my pencil. And this way I can get it down exactly where I want it. This little strip here, this little roadway, was made with hillside border dies from Lawn Fawn. And I just cut it out from both ends of it. And then I'm going to cover it with some distress oxide. Now I'm going to be doing sort of a emboss resist technique, but because I put a color underneath first, that's what's going to show up underneath my design. Then I'm going to take a Versamark or an embossing pen, mine's Versamark, and I am going to draw in bricks. When you're drawing in your own bricks, you want to make sure that you stagger them so it's not perfectly aligned like a grid. You want to just stagger how I'm doing here, and this will give you that brick look because that's how bricks are laid. And they're laid that way most likely for stability and structure. And so that's why I'm drawing them out. I did use an anti-static powder tool first so that the Versamark pen made sure that, you know, the powder only sticks to where I want it. I'm using clear embossing powder here because, again, I want that brown undertone to come out once I put Distress Oxide over this brick. And you'll see what I mean here in just a minute. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to finish that, make sure I get everything heat set. I go in sections because I don't want the Versamark pen to dry before it's able to hold on to the powder. So I finished that up, and now I'm going to take some Fired Brick Distress Oxide and I'm going to cover the entire panel. As you see, when I wipe this away, the undertone of that brown that was underneath is going to stay there. So now I'm working with a brown and red as opposed to if I did this on the white cardstock, it would have been really bold white. So then I'm taking out some ground espresso and covering a little bit the edges just to give it a little bit more of a realistic look. I'm going to use my corner rounder chomper here, and I'm going to round out the top of this brick or this stone wall, lay that down flat with some Nouveau glue, and then I am going to pop up my roadway, my brick walkway here with some foam tape. Before I'm able to put that down though, I kind of wanted to see that bottom piece of the cardstock needs to be colored in. So I just took an alcohol marker, a couple of them, and I'm going to just color out the bottom dark brown. No rhyme or reason for that color choice. I just kind of wanted to keep it earthy and muted just like the rest of the card is. And so I go through with a couple different browns to kind of get a little bit of shading, but it's really, really minor. You can't see it. If you want to keep it simple, just use one color. You can put that down, it'll be just fine. So I get that done, and now I'm going to stamp out my sentiment here. One of the sentiments that comes with this set is we've been sent good weather. So I thought it was going to be funny to put that sentiment on there and then decorate my card to speak to the contrary. And so I first put it down with Fired Brick. I didn't like it. I went back with some ground espresso and I added it on top. I'm going to place down, like I said, my stone brick walkway with some foam tape. Any foam tape will do. I use the stuff I get from the Dollar Tree because I have oodles of it and I like how it's already cut down for me. It is a little bit hard to remove from the backing, the release paper. Just be aware of that if you get it. But it's worth the for the price. It's a good trade-off. And now I'm going to put some foam tape behind these ladies' head and then glue on their bodies. And this way it'll keep everything nice and even across the way. So I get my layout done and I'm pretty happy. They're going on their shopping trip together. And I wanted to really add my final touch to this card, which is going to be rain. So I pulled out some Nouveau Glaze, and I am just making streaks of this. I did pull out a plain piece of cardstock to practice on first to kind of get the stroke I wanted. And it's coming down pretty hard here in this card. So it's just going to be not droplets. It's just going to be like stream of rain. And it's going to be everywhere. So I placed that all over the card. The oxide ink on the sentiment did kind of bleed a little bit, but I thought that was kind of cool. It kind of added a cool touch. I did go over the maiden's face as well, and then I made some puddles all over the brick walkway just to make it look even more realistic and more inconvenient as they walk. Now, they probably would have umbrellas, but I don't have an umbrella stamp, so I just kept it this way. So I get that all done. I'm really super pleased with the way this came out. I thought it was so much fun, and it's snarky because obviously they're not standing in good weather. So thanks so much for joining us. I hope you had some fun here over at the Kindred Stamp channel. Don't forget to check out this and all the new release. It's so much fun. Of course, Kindred never ceases to amaze. and we will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.